you.
I'm going to share my screen now. All right, so I'm going to transition into talking about the financial aspect of attending U.S. University. And there is a lot of trepidation around this, I think, and we are very aware that finances are often one of the biggest hindrances to attending a U.S. university because they are very often the most expensive universities in the world. So because of that, it's really important to have the exact information that you need to determine if the U.S. university that you were admitted to is the right financial fit for you. So NextGenius does a lot of preparation for you for that and provides a lot of information. But I want to take the next 15 minutes to provide you and your family some of the information and details and skills that you need to find this information for yourself for any university, any U.S. university to which you may apply. So I'm going to get into a lot of detail, and I do think this will be very important for you. So what you're looking at here on my screen is what's called a certificate of finance form, okay? Every U.S. university has their version of this form. I am showing you my school's form, College of Charleston's form, and every U.S. university that admits and enrolls F1 international students is required to have their version of this form by the U.S. government. What this form does is it tells you pretty precisely exactly what the cost of attendance will be for attending one full year at that university, inclusive of all fees that may be incurred. So not just tuition, not just living expenses, everything. I'm going to go over those costs and the breakdown for you specifically for my school. Again, this is just an example, but as Alice said in her presentation, it really will behoove you to look up each university's website, find this information for that school, and look at it for yourself. And to help you with that, I'm actually going to just show you on our website where that information is so you have an idea. So if you were to go to our main page, pretty much every school has a specific admission portion of their website. For CFC, you would click on international students. And on the left-hand side here, we have various sections of information for international students. This form for us is stored in our visas and immigration portion of our website. And it talks a lot about the process after you are admitted to a U.S. university. There is a whole other admission process that is based around the F1 visa. Okay, so to give you a quick overview of that, the Form I-20 is what is going to be essential for you after you obtain admission to your desired U.S. university. The Form I-20 is the next step of what you need to obtain in order to apply for your F1 visa. So this is a sample of what a Form I-20 looks like. You may be familiar with this, you may not be, but just to give you a sense of why we ask for a lot of this financial information is because of this form. So the Form I-20, it verifies to the U.S. visa officer at your local U.S. embassy that it verifies three things. It verifies that you've been admitted to the university. It verifies your proof of English proficiency, and it verifies your proof of funding and that you have the amount of funds to live comfortably in the US for your first year of study at that school. Okay, so that's what this portion here is telling you. So in order to obtain this Form I-20, again, each university will go back to this certificate of finance form. So this is how we tell you the estimated cost of attendance and the proof of funding that you need to show in order to receive that Form I-20. So for CFC, this is a 2-page form. You can see at the top here, it says a complete and correct certificate is required in order for a Form I-20 to be created. The I-20 will be created after the student has been admitted to the college and the information listed below has been verified. So we ask you for your personal information. Here we list the cost of attendance. So very often, if you go to the admissions website of the university that you're interested in the US, you can do a search for tuition and, it will lay out for you estimated cost of tuition and expenses for your first year or for the current year. So this form is really helpful because it compiles all that information. You really don't have to search for it. And again, it includes every cost that you may incur. So here we have listed our estimated tuition, room, board, transportation, and personal expenses. This includes cost of what you may spend going to the movies, buying clothes while you're here in the US, going out to eat, perhaps if you don't eat in our cafeteria every day, things like that, that you may not think of as things that you will spend money on as a student in the United States. Books and supplies, of course, that's very important too. This is estimated, but it gives you a good figure of what you will spend on that kind of thing in addition to your tuition for your classes. Health insurance. This is also very important. I think I can safely say pretty much every US university will require that you are completely covered by health insurance during your time in the US for any injuries or health incidents that you may incur. And then every US university has various fees on top of their tuition cost. So you can see here at C of C, we have a technology that's for IT laptop stuff and library fees. Okay, so our estimated total cost of attendance is this number right here, $54,740. So this is what we require every international student to show proof of funding for in order to issue the Form I-20, all right, in order to apply for the F1 visa. Now, working with an organization like NextGenius, part of the reason why you do this is because we offer scholarships associated with this program. So how does all of that factor into it? I'm going to go to the next page. I'll minimize this a little bit. So how do you show this proof of funding, the source of funding? All right, so we have on our second page of this form various ways, I'll say the most common ways that students and families show proof of this amount of funds for the student. The first way is personal funds, that is funds of the actual student. So in that case, you would input here the name of the bank, where the bank is located, and the amount of money in that bank account. I'd say the most common way is family funds. So this would be typically a parent or guardian showing they have that amount of money in their bank account to provide support for the student while they're studying in the US. Sometimes government funds come into play. The country that comes to mind is Saudi Arabia. I think Norway often provides funds for their students studying abroad. So that could be a source of funding as well. Next, we have a College of Charleston scholarship or grant. So this is where a program like NextGenius comes in and assists you in obtaining a scholarship from that university that you can then deduct from the total amount of funding that is required. So going back to page 1, from this amount, $54,740, the scholarship that we provide for our NextGenius applicant is what we call a full abatement scholarship. We are a public university in the US. So if you are our NextGenius scholar, then you would be awarded our in-state tuition rate. So that's a scholarship of over $20,000. We would input this information here for you, and you would have to show the proof of funding for the remainder of that amount. Other could be any loans that you take out, things like that. So this is where you show where the funding is coming from. So again, typically it's a combination of this C of C scholarship and grant and personal or family funds. Now, how do you show this amount of funding? It is via a bank statement or a bank letter. Again, this is getting very detailed and into the weeds, but I want to make sure that you know that this information is available to you now and how to find it at any school. So we do require, every U.S. university will require an official statement or a letter from the bank for which the funding is coming from. This typically isn't a problem for India, but the bank statement must be in English and must be within 12 months of the first day of class for the term that the student is enrolling. Something else to keep in mind is this last bullet point here. They must be liquid funds, so it can't be an investment account where the funds are tied up and not immediately available for withdrawal. So it needs to be in a checking or savings account. Okay, so that's a lot of information. But I wanted to be able to give you the tools to find exactly this form on every website of any U.S. university that you apply to, because it will give you the exact cost of attendance and the amount of money that you will be required to show proof of. Again, you may not know the exact scholarship that you're getting from that school at this time if you're admitted, but knowing the base amount is really helpful for your planning going forward. All right, I think that's it for me, and we will go to questions next, I think.